Robbie Mays here with a new product from the makers of OxyClean. Do you have a file cabinet like this one full of super awesome handouts? Well, coronavirus has made them worthless. I say, Robbie, I've tried everything to get my papers into the computer, but I just can't make it happen. Getting your papers on the computer is as easy as putting it in the slot, scanning your badge, and pressing the scan button. Press the direct input key, enter your email address, and it's as easy as that.
So I'm going to try to make this tutorial as holistic as possible. So what I did was I scanned the paper worksheet that I had here from the first part of the video, and I used the copiers that we have down in the teacher's lounge to email that file to myself. So you can see here that it comes in through your email, and then what you'll have to do is you can add it to your drive or you can download it. So for me, I'm going to download it here, and when you do that, it'll pop up, and I click show in folder after, and then I rename it to something that I can easily find later. So you just right click, you click rename, and then you can change it, right? So I'm just going to call this iMessage. I'm just going to call this iMessage worksheet. Okay. So that's step 1 or 2, depending on how you're keeping count. But so you get it, organize it somewhere where it's easy to find. And then after you get that in your email, you're going to need to convert it. I know, file types can be scary, but basically PDF isn't compatible with what we're going to do. So we have to change it to something called a JPEG. Did was Google PDF to JPEG, and there's all these online tools that are available to use. So this is the one that I'm going to use, and I'll put a link to it in the YouTube description down below, and you can click on it once we're done, or if you're following along. Okay, so for this, what you have to do is you have to choose that PDF file that we just took from the email, the one that we copied and faxed to ourselves, and then you hit choose PDF file, and it'll open this prompt box. Okay, so there's the file that I made, and I renamed it, and it'll usually situate these by the last time that you open them, so it should be somewhere near the top once you click open. Oh, and I'm doing all of this on a Chromebook too, by the way. So if you have access to a Chromebook, these methods will be, exact. And you're going to hit open. Now, I want the best quality image that I can get, so I'm going to turn this up to excellent, because we all strive to be excellent. So convert PDF to JPEG, it's going to spin and do its whole thing. It'll open another page, and then it'll provide you with the ability to download that converted PDF that is now a JPEG. So I'm going to download it. Okay, and here it is. So you see now the file extension here is different. Okay, so next step that I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to create a new Google slide. So I'm going to go to my drive, and I'm going to create a new Google Slides. Once your internet has finally decided to work and you create a new Google Slides, what we're going to do is we're going to create a master slide. And the master slide is going to be the background image that's across the slide. And what that's going to do is it's going to prevent the students from being able to interact with it at all. Okay, so the worksheet that I'm using here is in the landscape orientation. So it's long ways. Okay. If you wanted to do a worksheet that was in portrait orientation, up and down, what you would do is you would go down here to page setup, and you would click that. Okay. And then you want to make it a custom orientation. So all you're going to do is you're going to make it the same size as a traditional piece of paper. So we're going to do 8.5 by 11, okay, inches. right? So it makes it the same size as the piece of paper that you scanned in. But for mine, I want it to be a landscape orientation. So I'm going to do my page setup, and I'm going to make it 11 by 8.5. So you just switch those numbers around depending on which way your piece of paper is. So once I got my piece of paper laid out on the screen, I'm going to go to View, and then I'm going to click Master. Okay, and that's going to provide me with this interface, right? And I don't need this themes thing over here that always pops up, so I'm going to close that out. And the first thing that we're going to do is we're just going to get rid of all of this junk. So you just hover it up here at the edge where your mouse cursor starts to change, and you highlight that blue box around the outside, and you just hit backspace or delete. Okay. All right. So next thing that we're going to do after we have cleared our master slide is we're going to hit Insert, and then we're going to hit Image, and then we're going to hit Drive. And that's going to open up our Google Drive right here on the side of our screen. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click that JPEG that we just made, and I'm going to press Insert. So after you've inserted that image, you can see here that my worksheet that I scanned is now on my Google slide. So I'm going to rotate it so where it fits. And then I'm just going to match it to the size of my master slide here. Okay. This is just a basic iMessage worksheet. It looks like the iMessage function on an iPhone. What we use this for is something like assigning the kids to create a text message conversation between two characters in a story, just so they can understand how, just so they get some creative time in and they can understand how the characters interact in the story. Okay, so I now have my master slide created here. So now I don't need this interface anymore, so I can click out of how to change the master slide. Now I want to make this interactive, and it's not yet interactive. And the thing about making the master slide is that it doesn't allow the students to move the background of your worksheet at all. So you see here that they can't change anything about it unless they navigate back to the master slide interface, which they probably won't be able to find on their own. Okay, so insert. The thing that you're going to do next to make this interactive is you're going to insert text boxes. And you can do this in a variety of different ways. The way that I like to do, I click Insert, I go to Text Box, and then you're going to draw your text box. And I wouldn't worry so much about making it the right shape right away. And then after that, so after you've drawn your text box, you want to add a border color around it, and you can do that by clicking this button right here where mine is. I'm going to make mine red because I really want them to stand out, and I want the kids to know that each of the red boxes is where they have to type in their field. Okay. So, and then you're just gonna go through and you're gonna resize to roughly the same size or shape as whatever your answer field is. And then you're just going to copy and paste a lot. Okay, so once you have the outside of this thing highlighted, you just hit Control C and Control V, and we're just going to do that a bunch. And then we're just going to move these around. You might notice these grid lines showing up, and it just goes to show you that you're even with other objects on the page. So don't worry so much about those right now. Later, if you want to make sure everything is nice and symmetrical, then that's going to be how you do that. Okay, so now that I've got text boxes in all the places where I expect students to answer, all the students have to do to answer this worksheet is double click inside the box and type their response. If you want to assign this in Schoology, you're just going to assign it the same way you would assign any Google assignment. and the students are going to turn it in the same way that they would turn in any Google assignment. The entire operation was done on a Chromebook, and this video was also recorded on a Chromebook using Loom. You can add this by searching for Loom Chrome extension, and then you click this one right here, Loom for Chrome, and it'll take you to the Chrome Web Store. Now, you should have permission to add this, and it's as easy as it could be. Okay. All right, guys, I hope you found this information valuable. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below the video, and I will try to answer them as quickly as possible.